Berlin, June 30th, 1937. Spartacus Olsen reporting from the German capital. This quarter, the German people, perhaps the world, breathed easier as Hitler delivered no shocking, destabilizing diplomatic surprises. But under the surface, it looked ever likelier that Germany is indeed preparing for war. They showed us how terrible that war will be when the town of Guernica in Spain was more or less wiped off the map by the German Luftwaffe with Italian support. Tonight we look back at another quarter when Hitler's regime showed its true aggressive face to the world, while many Germans once again shrugged their shoulders and got on with life under the seductive order of Nazism. In the second quarter of 1937, the world watched in horror as the German passenger airship Hindenburg erupted into flames over New Jersey on May 6, destroying a potent symbol of Nazi technological prestige. Meanwhile, the brutal realities of modern warfare were unleashed on the Iberian Peninsula during the Spanish Civil War. For Germany, the second quarter of 1937 marked a decisive transition from public triumphalism to hidden operational war planning. Outwardly, the regime projected an image of peaceful economic miracles and national renewal, mesmerizing the masses with grandiose exhibitions. Yet, behind closed doors, the military apparatus received its first concrete directives to prepare for the violent conquest of neighboring states. This aggressive outward posture was mirrored domestically by an escalating systematic crackdown on the Catholic Church and the further fusion of the judicial and concentration camp systems. The quarter was characterized by the normalization of aggression both within and beyond Germany's borders. To broadcast its domestic successes, the regime opened the grandiose "Give Me 4 Years" exhibition in Berlin on April 30th, Hitler's birthday. The showcase dazzled the public with displays of economic recovery, infrastructure projects, and the miracles of synthetic materials. Yet, behind this facade of peaceful national revival lay the stark realities of rearmament. The exhibition itself prominently featured military aircraft and combat vehicles. Abroad, the true nature of German power was brutally demonstrated in Spain. On April 26, the German Luftwaffe's Condor Legion, with Italian participation, dropped 60,000 pounds of high explosives and incendiary bombs on the Basque town of Guernica. The raid leveled houses and public buildings, strafing fleeing men, women, and children with machine gun fire, leaving hundreds dead and the town in ruins. This devastating assault offered the world a grim view of what modern terror bombing can do to a civilian population. A month later, following a Republican air attack on the German battleship Deutschland, Hitler ordered the cruiser Admiral Scheer to bombard the Spanish coastal city of Almería on May 31st, killing 19 to 20 civilians in a ruthless act of retaliation. 0.4212d. While German bombs fell on Spain, Hitler secretly formalized his expansionist ambitions in Central Europe. On June 24th, Field Marshal von Blomberg, the Minister of War, issued a top-secret directive to the armed forces, preparing them for two eventualities. Case Green, a surprise attack designed to eliminate Czechoslovakia at the very beginning of a war of expansion, and Case Otto, an armed intervention against Austria. The military was ordered to prepare for a possible war in the mobilization period of 1937 to 38, demonstrating that Hitler's territorial demands are no longer mere rhetoric but actionable military plans. Domestically, the regime continued its relentless drive for total societal control. Propaganda Minister Joseph Goebbels authorized the painter Adolf Ziegler to confiscate works of so-called degenerate art from public museums across Germany to initiate a massive purge of the nation's cultural heritage. Simultaneously, the state intensified its legal and extra-legal terror against minorities. A secret decree issued by Reinhard Heydrich ordered that Jewish men who had completed their prison sentences for the newly invented crime of race defilement, having intimate relations with a non-Jewish woman, were to be immediately handed over to the Gestapo and turned into a concentration camp. This effectively fused the formal legal process with the arbitrary terror of the SS. The regime escalated its assault on the Catholic Church in response to Pope Pius XI's encyclical criticizing Nazi racial ideology. The Gestapo intensified surveillance, confiscated copies of the encyclical, and resumed highly publicized morality trials against Catholic priests, monks, and nuns. Goebbels denounced the church in vitriolic terms, weaponizing the justice system to discredit its moral authority and force the amalgamation of Catholic youth groups into the Hitler Youth. The state's campaign to cleanse the cultural sphere reached a fever pitch with the purge of modernist art deemed degenerate, slandered as Jewish or Bolshevik. Next month, parallel art exhibits will open in Munich, one displaying the degenerate works as negative examples, and another showcasing the racially pure, figurative art preferred by Hitler and Goebbels. The Give Me 4 Years exhibition boasted of economic triumphs like synthetic fuel and rubber, but hid the massive costs of rearmament and the 4-year plan, which starved the consumer sector and imposed covert austerity. The mood among Nazi leadership was one of aggressive confidence. Ordinary Germans showed profound apathy, retreating into daily routines amid state-sponsored spectacles. Foreign observers noted indifference even to events like the Bombardment of Almería. Many Germans were distracted by propaganda while minorities and the persecuted faced increasing terror. The events of Q2 1937 demonstrate a pivotal acceleration in the Nazi regime's trajectory toward war preparation. The Condor Legion's actions in Spain signaled willingness to use unrestricted violence against civilians. Domestically, the fusion of law and terror, attacks on the church, and cultural purges subordinated everything to the state's totalizing vision. Widespread public apathy, fueled by illusions of prosperity, enabled this path. The Nazis mastered the art of double talk, mixing plausible-sounding messages to obscure dark realities, seducing the audience into suspending disbelief. They corralled the German people into a circus tent where ferocious beasts are displayed as harmless, while real violence unfolds unnoticed. Never forget, don't be a clown.